Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Rich, aka Major Monkey, and we're gonna get a little bit dirty today, okay? We're gonna get in some mud. And I'm not talking about mud outside of your house. No. We're gamers, we don't go outside. Of course I wouldn't be talking about real life mud. I'm talking about the new version of Lethal Gaming Gear's Jupiter Pro Pad. Their mud pad, as they call it. Now, I'm someone that has never used a mud pad before, so I've been super excited to use it. And now that I have used it, I got some thoughts, and hopefully by the end of this video, you understand what my thoughts are on the pad, and you get an idea whether or not I liked it or didn't like it. Little spoiler alert: I liked it a lot. But we'll get into it. I've never reviewed a mouse pad before, given like a full review for it, and so I wanted to bring in some things from my mice reviews and just kind of tweak them a little bit, just so that it kind of fits the mouse pad format a little bit better. And so first we're going to start the video off with just some specs of the pad, just so you're familiar with what the pad offers, the sizes, just the specs, overall specs of the pad. And then the second part, instead of doing shape comparisons like I do in my mice reviews, I'm going to be doing kind of a just mousepad overall comparison. And so comparing it with pads that I personally own and have been using, and kind of blending that with my overall experience of the pad as a whole, just all together. And so yeah, so that's my kind of plan for this review. It's going to be a little bit smaller, I would imagine, than my mice review. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Speaking of the mice reviews, thank you guys so much for your support. It's as someone like myself who's kind of introverted, I've been wanting to do peripheral reviews for quite a while, but nerves and overthinking have kind of, taken hold of my decision making every time I think about doing them. I just kind of always wimp out and I just don't. And so, but recently I decided to, just start, and, just some stuff IRL has happened in my life, and it kind of pushed me to, just like, I don't know, stop like overthinking and just do what I want to do. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I started doing peripheral reviews and getting really into it during that time, and it helped me a lot. And so, being able to use this kind of medium as as like a support system for me, and also being able to express my joys and passions of this kind of stuff with you guys. And not only that, but then seeing your guys' feedback in the comments, having dialogue with you guys, it's all been just super awesome. So just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. And no more blabbering. Let's just get right into the video. All right, guys. So when looking at the specs of this pad, it is currently on sale for $54.99, but at this specific time of recording, which is the 23rd of September, it is actually on sale for a discount for $10 off, and so you can get it for $44.99. Nice little discount. I'm not sure how long the discount's going for, but at the moment of this recording, it's on sale. So if you're thinking about getting it, you can save some $10, and then that can cover the shipping. But yeah, it comes in 3 sizes. We're looking at an XL, which is 490 by 420. We're looking at the XL SQ, which I believe, just because of the shape, SQ stands for square. And so the XL SQ, which is 500 by 500, which this is actually the size that I'm currently owning and have been using for the Jupiter Pro. And it's also my preference with mouse pads. I definitely don't have an issue with the normal XL 490 by 420. I just kind of like having that extension in both ranges. And it's just perfectly balanced.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
But yeah, I really love just the block of a unit that a 500 by 500 pad is. And then lastly, a double XL pad, which is 1000 by 500. So essentially just imagine this 500 by 500 with 2 of them together. But yeah, so you're looking at XL, XL square, and a double XL. Now, They have been directly working with, from what I can read on their descriptions on the website, they've been working with directly Slimflex, and they are formerly known as Poron. They had to change the name. I remember seeing that somewhere on Twitter that they had to go through that name change. But yeah, so previously known as Poron, the ones who work with them on their bases, they directly worked with Slimflex to, continue that relationship and building the Poron bases on their pads. And with those Poron bases, you have Firm, Soft, and X-Soft. X-Soft is the version that this pad that I own. And with Soft and X-Soft, you're looking at a 4mm thickness of the pad. But for the Firm, you're looking at a 3mm of thickness. So the Firm is a little bit thinner, not by a crazy margin. I know some people even prefer 3mm over the 4mm. But yeah, so you're looking at Firm, Soft, and X-Soft, and with Firm being slightly thinner. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Jupiter Pro is their mud pad, and so it's their slowest of control style pads. And so this is kind of where I'm going to kind of get into the comparison with other pads and also my overall experience with this pad. And speaking of it being one of their control pads, I personally own the Saturn Pro from them, and I love that pad a lot as well. I've had nothing but great experience with that pad. As someone who is primarily a control pad user, I've had no issues with that pad, and it's just been such a great time. I honestly, looking at it compared to my Artisan Zero, I don't know if I really prefer one over the other. They're both just phenomenal pads. Yeah, I don't know if I really could pick one. If you put me blindfolded and I just kind of played with both, I think I maybe could, just because I've used both pads a lot. I could maybe kind of figure out which pad is which, but nonetheless, the Saturn Pro has been nothing but a pleasure to use and have. Speaking of mouse pads, I also have the Samurai from Curacao, which is their balanced pad. Also, shout out to Curacao because they're coming out with their Shogun, which is their controlled version. So, kind of excited for that whenever that eventually comes out. And also, 500 by 500 for their sizes. Also, very excited for that. So, be on the lookout in the future because that's definitely going to happen. Can't wait for those pads. And then I also have an Artisan Hien, which is probably my most fastest pad out of the lineup. And so comparing this directly with the Saturn Pro, I have to say there's definitely a difference. This is truly a mud pad as they advertise. They're not lying with that at all. One of the first things I noticed with this pad that I've never noticed with any other pad before is this feeling of a surface of the pad. This is going to sound extremely silly, but when I feel the Artisan Zero or the Saturn Pro, they feel like mouse pads, like the texture of it. It feels like a mouse pad. But when I'm holding this and kind of coursing my hand through the surface of the pad, there's this level of softness that I've never experienced before on a mouse pad. My wife said it felt kind of velvety, but it's not though, and I agree with her that was like a great description of the pad. It has like that kind of feel likeness of it, but it's not though. It's not. This isn't a velvet textured pad, but it just. I can see why she said that when she felt this pad. Just in terms of just control, right? Comparing it to the Saturn Pro. I mean, the Saturn Pro, it'll stop wherever you want it to stop. That's the whole point of control pads, is that it really locks in your movement. It doesn't allow you to just kind of move everywhere super fast and speedy. It gives you that control, and Saturn Pro does that. It does a great job at that. The Artisan Zero does a great job at control as well. But there is just something about this, and again, I know it sounds silly, but as someone who's never used a mouse pad, a mud pad before, I mean, I didn't think you could get more locked in on a pad, but you can. And with this Jupiter Pro, I feel always extremely locked in with this pad. And I know typically when it comes to things like tracking, typically you want a faster pad, and faster pads kind of give you that ease of tracking. I'm not good with faster pads at all. Like glass pads, one, I don't like glass pads that much. If I'm being completely honest, again, I'm sorry. I love you guys. I apologize. Um, but with the Artisan hand, I kind of get that more faster feeling. And if I had to compare how I feel when I'm like tracking, like on the finals, right? I recently got into the finals, and on the finals, especially as someone who, like myself, is playing on a light class, you really got to track with that SMG that you use. I mean, you really got to kind of hold in. That Mac 11, I mean, it doesn't have a huge clip, so you got to make sure every bullet counts when you're tracking them. And with this being such a slow control pad, I was kind of worried at first that maybe that would bring some difficulty. But for me personally, and again, when talking about stuff like this, even with mice, but I would say even more so with mouse pads, everything I'm saying is very, very subjective, okay? Like, it is very much my opinion, very biased for my preferences, you know? So when I say that I'm doing better in a game or I'm not, you know, that please don't take it as like oh, I have to buy it then because, you know, Major Monkey, he did great. And so if he's gonna do great with the pad, I would do phenomenal with the pad too. You know what I mean? Definitely don't want you guys to kind of take it as that. This is just kind of my overall genuine experiences with it. And so for me personally, when it's come to tracking, I've never tracked better than when using this pad. Um, and that's just my overall like experience with it, is that in terms of tracking, even with something against like a Hien, my Zero, the Saturn Pro, for some reason, this type of just muddy control, that kind of locked in feeling, has allowed me to track super well. And I mean, I just got into the finals like in this past kind of week. And the first day I was just locked in already, right? Like the first day I'm playing, I have this pad and I am just in. As someone who hasn't really played since the game initially came out, and I think even when it came out, I played for like maybe a couple days and that's it. Um, Man, it just felt smooth and it felt right. And then even jumping to a different kind of game where you're not really tracking too much, maybe in some instances you are, but in a game like Valorant, right, attack FPS, this pad is, man, I mean, people typically say that a control pad is probably better than a much faster pad when it comes to games like attack FPS, because you're moving so much slower and you have to be so much more accurate. And so being able to have that stopping power at any moment's notice and knowing that you're going to stop exactly where and when you want, that's like the whole premise of a control pad. And so it's not a really a shocker that this pad just is amazing on Valorant. And as someone whose primary TAC FPS is Valorant, I had a fantastic time with this pad. Comparing it to things like the Zero, like the Saturn Pro, who are a little bit faster of a control pad, I can't say that I felt an astronomical difference in my gameplay because, again, they're both control pads. But I will say, though, again, just like with the tracking, I feel extremely locked in when using this pad. And again, for the people that have been using mud pads, it's like, no duh, no shit, Major. Yo, like, of course you're feeling more locked in. It's a mud pad, you dingus. I know, okay? I haven't used one, all right? But yeah, for me, Valorant, the finals, and I also been playing Deadlock a lot recently too, which is the third-person MOBA shooter. That has also felt super, super good. I mean, yeah, man. As someone who's a control user, I love this pad immensely. I'm cautious saying that it's my most favorite pad I've ever used, but I think I've never gotten a pad that I've like just kind of synced with as fast as I have with the Jupiter Pro. And the pads that I have and I use are awesome. I mean, the Saturn Pro from Lethal Gaming Gear, I can't recommend enough. It's a phenomenal pad. The pads from Artisan, I mean, we all know Artisan. Artisan is not like some small indie company that no one knows about. I mean, Artisan makes phenomenal pads. And even as someone who isn't a huge fan of faster pads, I love using the Hien. the texture on it just feels super unique as well, and I just really love my just bright red cherry artisan hien. And things like Curacao, right? Curacao, the Samurai balanced pad. I love the unique texture that that pad feels as well. I love using that pad, and I can't wait for what they're coming out with. And so this isn't to say that those pads suck and this one's great. Don't buy those, buy this. All I'm saying is, in the list of pads that I've used, and all of them have been really, really phenomenal, even if all of them are not my perfect preference, this, man, just it it fits right at home for me. And for me personally, it might be my all-time favorite pad that I've used. Yeah, man, it's been such a joy to use. I don't want to keep repeating myself too much because I feel like I already have. But yeah, guys, I mean that's the review. I gave you the specs. I compared it with some pads that I use. Yeah, man, Jupiter Pro V2. Again, I never used the version 1, so I don't know exactly the crazy differences between the two. But from what I've read is that, there was just some issues with maybe like the surface of that pad, and they tried to resolve it with this version. And as someone who didn't use the first one but has been using the second one, I don't know what issues you guys had with it, but I can promise you that those issues aren't here, because I haven't had an issue with this pad. This pad is awesome. And last real quick thing is more of like a cosmetic thing, visual thing. I really like this color for the mouse pad. It's not like, it's, in your typical black mouse pad, it's just like super dark. Like it's just a pure black pad. And I don't know if you can tell here with the Wiseout Cloud, but with the Cloud, oh my god, look at this fingerprint magnet of a mouse. Oh my gosh. But as you can see, like the pad is lighter than that mouse, and it's this nice kind of like a charcoal black kind of, where it's a little bit on the grayer side, but it's still a black, obviously. It's not anything drastically crazy, it's not like an orange pad like my Zero, but I just like that it's not your typical just pure all black. It's a nice kind of little version of a black, a little charcoal black, a little grayish. Yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry if I rambled a lot. This is my first mousepad video, so it's a little bit of prep, a little bit of kind of spitballing of when I should include something or not. I don't really have a structure yet for these mousepad reviews. I'm also not using the action camera, as you can see. It's more of a static kind of locked in frame. And I think this is kind of how I'm going to go with the mousepad reviews, just because I feel like with the action cam, the movement's not needed at all for that. And so, yeah, I think this is what I'm going to run with. And so thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about that, guys. My camera kind of hiccuped. I don't know what happened. But yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully it maybe kind of helped you and gave you an idea of what the pad is, what it feels like compared to maybe some other pads that you have or maybe have used in the past. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, LethalGamingGear, for making such an awesome pad. I paid for this pad. I didn't receive it for free at all. And so, yeah, just genuinely super happy with it. Thank you guys for watching. And also, be on the lookout because the Logitech Dex review is coming out pretty soon. And when I say pretty soon, I mean like in the next couple days. So be on the lookout for this. And yeah, check you guys later, all right? See ya.